It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move forward.
Like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I'm Mustafa Kasim, former District 6 resident. Resided in Stone Street, or also known as Clip Street, and Pontiac Street, and Reform Street, from where we were eventually evicted.
Name is Yusuf Babasa, age 71 years of age. I lived in 60 Chapel Street. I attended Chapel Street Primary School and Trafalgar High School.
Yeah, I'm Mandy Sanger. I manage education at the District 6 Museum. My family has no link directly with District 6, but we were forcibly removed from Claremont Newlands. So in that sense, I have a link.
My name is Matthew Napoleon. I stay in number 58 Primrose Street, just behind the hospital.
My name is Wilhelmina Rhodes. We were staying in Hanover Street, 211. And I'm 66.
My name is Muhammad Benjamin. I am from District 6. I was born in District 6. I lived first in Sakira Street, then in Mackenzie Street, and then to Prospect Avenue, and then moved to Lavender Hill, and I'm 57 years old.
I'm Lionel Davis, born in District 6. I am 76 years of age. Well, I do have fond memories of District 6 as a young person growing up there. I loved the culture of togetherness. And yes, I had a happy childhood, but I became aware of the anomalies in District 6, the problems that we faced with, especially with white authority. And I also sadly remember the prejudice that prevailed in District 6, because people are inclined to paint a very romantic picture of District 6 as if we were one homogeneous, harmonious whole. And what we forget is something which still bedevils our community, our society, is the racist attitudes of the people from the colored community towards other black people. And they tried to say that we were all one. That's nonsense. It was never like that. There may be one or two cases where there was a wonderful relationship between black and colored people, but on the whole, the prejudice that was then still prevails today, and we have to get rid of it.
District 6 to me was everything. It was home. It was paradise, really. You know, we ate. There was no sectarianism. Irrespective of what the gentleman in the corner says, I didn't find that. Muslim, Christian, Hindus, Africans, we ate out of one pot. Now, there was a fellow called Cape Fruit Supply. We lived in 60, they lived about 54. They had African workers, who worked for them. They came along and they ate with us. At the back of my house in Roger Street, there was an African family. They lived in a kraal. We got on magnificently. In Reform Street, there was a gentleman called Uncle. He was a Hindu. He had a war turban and he had African workers. You know, he had a horse and cart, and we got along very, very well. So I do not agree with what that gentleman in the corner says.
The African brothers were part of the District 16. In Hanover Street, next to the wash house, the public wash house, we had a swimming baths that was allocated to the African brothers. In Chapel Street, there was the African Methodist Church and a school. In Vandelier Street, Stone Street, they used to have what we used to call the house parties. It started on a Friday and it ended on a Monday morning, where they played with a piano and a guitar or two and the drums, and it carried on from Friday right through until Monday. The neighbors never complained. Nobody complained. The workers, the Africans that lived there, worked in the docks. The Cape Town docks was a seaport. I mean, when they closed the Suez Canal, all the ships, the mail ships, everything used to dock in Cape Town. There were work for thousands of people in these docks. because it was all labor-intensive work at the railways, at the fisheries, the Cape Town market. You can go there. They were offloading ships by the by the dozens.
I had a wonderful time in District 6, and my two neighbors were actually from the Eastern Cape, two African guys from the Eastern Cape. The one was Joe Sishuba, and the one was Mr. Kobe from Fort Beaufort. Sishuba was from Teddy. And we had a very good, friendly relationship. We never had problems. And for me, District 6 was very good because we actually even played rugby in District 6. I actually played against these two gentlemen sitting here next to me. They were my opponents, Mr. Mustafa and Small Boy.
When I was a child, I'll go to school there by Moravian in Arundel Street, and I was growing up, and it was very nice to grow up there in District 6, and we was helping the neighbors. If the one is sick, we go and help them. And the apartheid was broken me my heart that time. You see, when they let us, we must go out. I didn't want to go out there. I was the last one. Was there in District 6.
You know, I used to just enjoy the rain in District 6, and the hail I used to enjoy, because we used to be near the Quarter Street, and when the water used to come down, gushing from the air into the galleys, we used to, in that coggle pave, we used to wash our feet and that, and used to play in it. And you know what I enjoy, because I had a fantastic great grandmother, you know, my foster grandmother, Muchibaira Girlie. You know, she used to love everybody. And what was so beautiful about District 6, that if somebody passed away, whether it was a Muslim, Christian, Jew, or anybody, everybody was there. Even my grandmother, Muchibaira, how many people, they didn't have houses, but their funeral was from our house, whether they were Muslim or Christian. That is what I miss about District 6. And the time of playing, going into the park, going to Trafalgar Park in Ruland Street, that was our fondest days on a Sunday. You know, even sitting in the Quarter Street by the Sunday school, you know, singing, you know, all the hymns. And you know why we used to sing? Because if it comes to Christmas time, we used to get the packets. And if it comes to Ramadan, everybody was together. People send cookies to one another. You know, we shift presents from one another. And then there was no color distinction. And what I really miss about District 6 is Hanover Street, when we could have gone from shop to shop and we could have quarreled. You know, quarrel means somebody gives you something to eat, maybe a little grape or a fruit or a piece of dry fish, you know. And then also the time we used to play in District 6, there was one shop that used to like to make money, and it was always closed. There was a little hockey, and we give a long order, and then once the order is done, then we run away. And this is the fun times of District 6.
Next to us, the neighbors, was when we all friends. I didn't have boyfriend that time, but we was friends. We liked the African people, and they was good African people. Eh? They coming to our house and eat, and they, you know, sit, and we go to them and we sit there and talk. They was very nice people then. I can say nothing about the African people.
You had families who were highly politically conscious, and you would find that they would embrace their African neighbors. But the greater percentage of people from the colored community were very much concerned about being white or near white, where the result is that you found within colored communities that they were very reluctant for their daughter or their brother to marry somebody that was darker, because they talked about improving the line. You get married to somebody who is fair, regardless of whether the person is a hobo or a scully. If he's fair, with straight hair, it means that the children born from that marriage, from that liaison, would not have the kinkiness that I have or the darkness that I have. This was and is still what is happening within colored communities. is that they were always, white to them was bright, was smart, bright, beautiful, correct. And everybody wanted to rise to that status because they said that was the desirable status, to be like the whites, to emulate the whites. And this was the prejudice that was there, that is still within the colored community to this day. We're not talking about tolerance. You can tolerate a person without accepting that person as an equal. And this is what they did. They tolerated black people. They didn't accept black people into their folds.
In Cape Town, the way people look at each other, the assumptions they make about each other. In fact, it reminds me of the movie Crash. You know, the levels of racism is at so many different levels. You know, anger gets mixed up with racism. Politics gets mixed up with racism.
Also, what Mr. Mustafa Kasim has forgotten to tell you, that in Chapel Street there was an African church, black and red, opposite the Ghani family.
I know that.
Right, you know the church? Okay, so I can tell you, your Honour signed to tell us that there was racism, we object to the African, wasn't so. Also, I can tell you that I used to go to Kensington. At the back of, right, there were thousands of Africans at the back there. We used to go sell grapes there, we mixed with them, and they used to come visit us. Right? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
My whole life in District 6 was a beautiful life.
Yeah. I know what I said earlier on. There were exceptional families.
No, there
who,
were many exceptional families.
Well, just listen to me.
Right.
I said there were exceptional, whether there were many, but there were exceptional families that were politicized. The Goulds, for example. There were so many of them, Sissy Gould and those families, who embraced black people, right? But there was prejudice. There were two forms of prejudice. There was the colored Muslim prejudice, which I experienced as a child within my own family. And then there was the colored black, because if you were black with a Xhosa name, you were tolerated, you were there. But you would tell your children, don't mix with the Kafirs. Hulle, the darkies. And this word darkie is still being used to this day. The prejudice was there, is still there within those who see, who have embraced the idea of being colored. You may object to the term that you were not colored, but the greater percentage of the people from Cape Town who were classified as colored romance that name. They want to be colored, and that prejudice is deep, deep, deep.
You know, it comes from both sides. You know, as coloreds, we call the blacks these names, and the blacks call the coloreds Malau, Makaya, Makwama, everything. You know, they call them all kind of names. So it came from both sides. You know, if we should cleanse ourselves, we should all of us, coloreds and blacks, whatever they call us, come together and forget about these names. But these names have stuck to the people's heads, you know, you can hear it all over.
My dream is to come back to District 6, to have my children, my grandchildren around me, and to try in some way to rebuild a community with love, understanding, in harmony. Thank you.
My dream is that we must come back, live in harmony, and my dream is everybody's got to try and come back. That is my dream.
My dream is also everybody must come back, and me too. Brown, colored, whatever, must all come back to District 6.
My dream is to come back to Cape Town, to District 6, and I've got confidence in our Minister of Land Affairs. I think and I trust him that, but he said we're all going to come back.
My dream is that I can be part of a process where we build a city that's a lot more kinder than Cape Town is at the moment to all its people.
My dream is to come back home. I'd like to bring the working class back to District 6. We can have a good life. And we come home on an equal basis. White, black, blue and pink all come along and live together.
I don't have a dream, because dreams are only dreams. And when you wake up, the dream is gone. I have a vision for the people of District 6, that everybody that was displaced should be resettled in District 6.
You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.